not walls. Bridges, not walls. That, your majesties, King Willem Alexander, Queen Maxima. That, your excellency, President William Ruto. That, distinguished guest. That is in the words of Kenya's founding president, Jomo Kenyatta. And that is precisely why we're all here today. Bridges, not walls. Madaraja, Sikuta. Or in Dutch, bruggen, geen muren. My name indeed is Patrick Verkooijen. I'm the president and CEO of the Global Center on Adaptation. And I'm also honored, Mr. President, to be appointed by you as Chancellor of the University of Nairobi. And in addition, Mr. President, as a national of the Netherlands, I'm likewise a proud subject of their majesties indeed. And your majesty, Queen Maxima, you, if I may address you directly, you are the United Nations advocate for inclusive finance. You, madam, you are the voice of the voiceless, building bridges, not walls. But your majesties, Mr. President, we know the world is heading in a very different direction right now. New world order. Trade wars escalating. Development finance slashed. Friends turned into foes overnight. And yet, we're all here. Because amid the chaos, real leadership is emerging, Mr. President. And thank you for that. And with it, real partnerships can flourish. Your Majesty the King, sir, you were the one who in New York in September 2021, you forged a global movement to adapt our world to our climate in crisis. And again, Your Majesty, in record speed, you were the one who opened the largest floating office in the world, a symbol of hope that we can overcome the crisis. Mr. President, President Ruto, you came to the Netherlands. You visited this Dutch engineering miracle in Rotterdam. And you said to me, if I can disclose, Patrick, I'm not really a swimmer. I'm a runner. And as you said, Mr. President, we're running out of time. Because for Africa to be the resilient growth engine of the world, it has to be resilient to the climate shocks. And Mr. President, you showed all of us, not just here in Kenya, not just in Africa, but across the globe, what it means to run. Because in record time, you welcomed the Global Center on Adaptation here in Kenya. And that's very that we're so proud of your hosting arrangement. And for their majesties, it's important to realize, and for the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands and the Minister of Development Cooperation of the Netherlands, it's important to realize it is the first ever dual headquarter of any global organization. It's not just the Africa office, it's a partnership between Kenya and the Netherlands, celebrated by you, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Building bridges, not walls. Now, in closing, as a friend of Kenya and as the head of the university, your alma mater, Mr. President, I have learned a thing or two about collaboration. Think about it. Of the 1 million graduates of this nation each year, only 1 in 4 lands a formal job. But what about the others? Where will they go? Think about it. Some took to the streets, which we saw last year. Others make it as far as Europe. But if that trickle becomes a tsunami, no wall will be high enough to contain it. And because, as you said, Mr. President, we need to harness the demographic dividend, not fight it. And for that, here in Kenya, here in Africa, we need 3 things. Jobs, jobs, jobs. And that's why you, Mr. President, you launched the Big Five agenda for all universities here on this continent. In closing, the irony is, the sad thing is, many of the students here in Kenya, many of the students here at the University of Nairobi, they are already working highly skilled side jobs. And Madam Majesty, you know in what? Writing papers, not for themselves, not for their classmates, no, for Ivy League students in the United States to make a buck or two. Think about it. That's digital economy globalized and localized. And last November, in closing, Mr. President, you launched here, Silicon Savannah, right here in Nairobi, to turbocharge Africa's digital revolution. So for the business leaders from the Netherlands here tonight, I have one message for you. There is incredible untapped potential here in this great nation, in the digital economy, in high-tech, fintech, agritech, agribiz, much more, if only we build the bridges. And as a Dutchman, I'm here to say, Mr. President, although we may have earned a reputation for going Dutch, we're always open for business, for trade, for commerce. Both our nations, so much to gain through bridges, not walls. Madaraja, Sikuta, bruggen, geen muren. So your majesties, Mr. President, in a divided world, we play defense and we leave chips on the table. But in a united world, Mr. President, which you lead, we're all in, everything to win. In a divided world, fearing our neighbors, we build walls. But Mr. President, as you lead in a united world, joining forces, we build bridges. Mr. President, your majesties, bridges, not walls. And with that, Kenya, unstoppable. The Netherlands, unstoppable. Together, unstoppable. I thank you. Asante sana. Thank you very much indeed.
You have it right there.